Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly countdown of the top 10 best-selling light novels in Japan. This being for the week of December 4th to December 10th of 2017. We're almost done the year. This list could probably be called the invasion of the Kono light novel ga Sugoi. There's actually quite a few titles on the list this week that all placed well within the top 10 on either the Bunkobon or the Tankoubon listings of the Kono light novel ga Sugoi that just was released. So it's pretty clear that these titles, I don't know if they're getting a boost because they were in Kono light novel ga Sugoi, or if it's just speaking to their general popularity. So let's get right into the list at number 10 with 5,361 copies sold. Volume 13 of Nejimaki Seirei Senki, Tenkyou no Alderamin. This is also known, of course, as Alderamin in the Sky. It is a 13-episode anime, aired July to September of 2016, which was licensed by Crunchyroll, so that may very well be where we're very familiar with it. The anime covered approximately volumes 1 to 3, with some material apparently from volume number 7, although people were saying on the Reddit boards that it changed a few of the order of some of the events. There's no license currently for the light novels in English. The mighty Kachvarna Empire is currently embroiled in a war with the neighboring Kyoukaisenjou Republic. Within an unspecified corner of this empire, a certain young man was reluctantly preparing to take the high-grade military officer exam, owing to mysterious circumstances. His name is Ikta. As a man, Ikta abhors war, is slothful by nature, and worships the female form. At the time, no one could have possibly predicted that a person like him would become a military figure worthy of being called a legendary general. The young Ikta, armed with his superb talents as a soldier, struggles to survive in a world ravaged by war. This tale will recount his tumultuous life up until this point, as the curtains are drawn for a spectacular chronicle of fantastical warfare. Now, this is actually a series that I have been very interested in reading. I don't know if we're going to get it in English. It always seems to me that the longer we go without more anime or away from the anime, that the likelihood of the light novels getting licensed seems to decrease. But I just, there's actually a few titles on here that all have to do with sort of war and otherworldly war and fantastical war. And I just kind of think that it would be neat to get those titles, just because that is something that we really don't have other than sort of your let's go fight the demon with our magic and swords. So this would be a title I'd be interested in checking out. At number 9 with 7,081 copies sold, it is Part 4, Volume 1 of Honzuki no Gekokujou, Shisho ni Naru Tame ni wa Shudan wo... I can't even say that. I'm not even going to bother. AKA Ascendance of a Bookworm. I'll become a librarian at any cost. Now, this one was actually number 1 on the Tankoubon list on the Kono light novel ga Sugoi. There, of course, is no official English language license. Urano, a bookworm who had finally found a job as a librarian at a university, was sadly killed shortly after graduating from college. She was reborn as the daughter of a soldier in a world where the literacy rate is low and books were scarce. No matter how much she wanted to read, there were no books around. What is a bookworm to do without any books? Make them, of course. Her goal is to become a librarian. So that she may once again live surrounded by books, she must start by making them herself. Now, during my video on Kono light novel ga Sugoi, I said this is a series I would be fantastically interested in reading. Of course, it is a isekai, a reincarnation sort of subgenre of the isekai, but just the fact that it's like you're not necessarily born into a world to fight demons or with these OP magical powers or what have you. It's you're just an average girl wanting to make some books, which really speaks to the book lover in me as well. I would really like to see that series. I don't know, like, my feeling is that it's entirely possible with it having done so well in the Kono light novel ga Sugoi. And actually what was interesting is that it was not only number one with the industry votes, but it was also number one of the fan voting. So obviously it has popularity across the board and is well regarded industry wise. It wouldn't surprise me if we see an anime announced for it shortly. And if that anime is announced, I would say that the odds of us getting this licensed will go up considerably. But until then, I don't know if they will. I don't know if they'll license it just on the Kono light novels ga Sugoi ranking. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, well, I was going to talk about this a little bit more in my end of year video. I will anyway, but just, to me, it just seems that 2018, when you take a look at how many light novel volumes were released in 2017, with 2018, I have every reason to think we're going to get even more. So the likelihood of us getting more series licensed, I think, is considerably higher with each passing year, as light novels seem to be proving more and more popular, and more licenses are announced and more volumes come out. It's a pretty good time to be an English reading fan of light novels. At number 8, with 7,392 copies sold, Volume 10, Part 2, that's the 25th volume, of Kyoukaisenjou no Horizon. So Horizon in the middle of nowhere. There were 2 anime seasons, each with 13 episodes. Season 1 ran October to December of 2011. Season 2 ran July to September of 2012. Both seasons are licensed in English by Sentai Filmworks. Currently no license for the light novels. In the far future, humans abandoned a devastated Earth and traveled to outer space. However, due to an unknown phenomenon that prevents them from traveling further, humanity returns to Earth, only to find it inhospitable except for Japan. To accommodate the entire human population, pocket dimensions are created around Japan to house the returned populace. In order to find a way to return to outer space, the humans begin reenacting human history according to the Holy Book Testament. But in the year 1413 of the Testament era, the nations of the pocket dimensions invade and conquer Japan, dividing the territory into feudal fiefdoms and forcing the original inhabitants of Japan to leave. It is now the year 1648 of the Testament era, and the refugees of Japan now live in the city ship Musashi, which constantly travels around Japan while being watched by the Testament Union, the authority that runs the reenactment of history. However, rumors of an apocalypse and war begin to spread when the Testament stops revealing what happened after 1648. Taking advantage of this situation, Tori Aoi, head of Musashi Ariadust Academy's Supreme Federation and president of the Student Council, uses this opportunity to lead his classmates and try to regain their homeland. Now, this is a series that I would really love to read. It sounds crazy and awesome in a sci-fi kind of way. But you know what? The longer, as I said, when you've gone 2012, so you've gone 5 years past where the anime was, the likelihood of it happening, I'm really tempted. Every time this one's on the list, I say the same thing, that I would love to see it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Which is unfortunate, because, I think sci-fi is probably one of the most underserved light novel genres in terms of our current batch of English licenses, so I'd love to see some of that happen. At number 7, with 7,655 copies sold, Volume 2 of the Konosuba spin-off, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Extra. That Fool is also in the spotlight. The supporting role can be wonderful. Now, we don't have a license for these spin-off novels, and actually, last week when I did the list, I said that I thought that we had the Megumin sort of spin-off. What is it, like Kono Light Novels, A Wonderful Explosion or whatever. Anyway, one of you pointed out that I was wrong in that, and you're correct. I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess because there have been a couple of spin-off announcements, ReZero EX, one of the newer spin-offs of Danmachi. So I think maybe I just kind of got spin-offs stuck in my head and thought we'd already had that announcement. I wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually get it, but not yet. So I was wrong. I'll admit that freely. So right now we have no licenses for any Konosuba spin-offs. At number 6, with 8,833 copies sold, volume number 3 of 86. Now, this one was the number 2 in the Tankoubon Kono Light Novel ga Sugoi listing. We have no official English license. The Republic of San Magnolia. For a long time, this country was attacked by its neighbor, the Empire, which created a series of unmanned military vehicles called the Legion. In response to the threat, the Republic successfully completes the development of similar technology and reflects the enemy's attack, having managed to do so without casualties. But this is the official version. In fact, there were victims. Outside of the 85 districts of the Republic, there was actually another one, the non-existent 86th district. It was there that battles continued day and night, in which young men and women from the detachment known as 86 participated. They fought in the supposed drones. Shin is the leader of a squadron of 86ers. Lena is a handler who commands the detachment from the remote rear with the help of special communications technology. The farewell story of the severe and sad struggle of these two begins. Now, with this series, I have seen quite a number of comments about it, especially because of it doing well in Kono Light Novel ga Sugoi, with only actually 2 volumes released at the time. I think probably the overwhelming comment is that this is a very dark and series that if you can't handle or don't enjoy characters dying, you probably should skip it. And this again is one of the other titles I was talking about earlier with Alderamin, and I was talking about how, these war-based novels. I would be interested in checking this out. I did read somebody that they said the writing wasn't the greatest, but I'd still really like to just sort of see what it's all about and check it out. And it's still something that's very different from the light novels that we have currently being released in English, and that always kind of excites me to check out something new. So, I don't know. Again, it's one of those series, it's pretty early on. With only 3 volumes, I don't know that they would greenlight an anime for it quite yet. I guess it depends on how much happens in those volumes, if they think they can stretch sort of the whole, 3 volumes over the whole core and cover it over those 3, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, though, we do get an announcement. And again, it's a series that, who knows, we may very well get in English. At number 5, with 9,537 copies sold, Tante Team Keize Jike Note, Konvene Kame wa Shiteru, aka Detective Team Kaze's Case Notes. There was a 16-episode anime which aired from October 2015 to January 2016. The novel series centers around Aya Tachibana, a 6th grader who frets and obsesses over friends, family, grades, and more. One day, she joins the Tente Team KZ, Detective Kazes, with 4 very idiosyncratic boys she met at cram school. There is the glib and attention-grabbing leader, Kazuomi Wakatake, the mysterious expert of personal relationships, Takakazu Kuroki, the smart and stoic math genius, Kazunori Uesugi, and the sweet-hearted Kazuhiko Kozuka, who is good at social matters and science. Aya finds her place among them as the language expert. Tente Team KZ gets involved in modern-day cases, and even if they bicker from time to time, they collaborate by pooling each of their talents and skills to solve these cases. Now, this apparently is sort of aimed at a slightly younger audience, which you can probably tell from the fact that the kids are a little bit younger than our average sort of light novels where they're in high school. Uh, I gotta be honest, I don't think this is one that we're going to see licensed into English. Um, maybe just because it's aimed at that slightly lower demographic. I mean, even just taking a look at my numbers in terms of viewership, according to whatever, analytics that YouTube keeps, the vast majority of people who watch this channel are in that bracket between like 18 and 35. So I don't know if companies are going to be in a big hurry to license light novels that are aimed at a younger group, if they are sort of working on the same idea in terms of the demographics. Pretty much the vast majority of light novels that we get out are recommended for 13 and up. So yeah, I don't think this is a series that's likely to be licensed anytime soon. At number 4, with 17,879 copies sold, volume number 12 of Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. This one is licensed in English by Yen On. They're releasing the 4th volume January 31st of 2018. There is an anime which is actually going to be premiering in January. That's brand new. 29-year-old programmer Suzuki Ichiro finds himself transported into a fantasy world. Within this world, he's a 15-year-old named Sato. At first, he thinks he's dreaming, but his experiences seem very real. Due to a powerful ability he possesses with limited use, he ends up wiping out an army of lizardmen and becomes a high-leveled adventurer. Sato decides to hide his level and plans to live peacefully and meet new people. However, developments in the story, such as the return of a demon king, may cause a nuisance to Sato's plans. I reviewed the first volume of this. It's one of those series that I have to admit, I didn't hate the first volume. I thought it was okay, but it just seemed kind of, it just didn't have a lot that was different or striking about it that made me go, oh, I have to read more of this series. But yet it is one of those series that, with its continued popularity and everything else, there is a part of me that thinks maybe I should go back and read some more of it. But I don't know. Only time will tell. I mean, I've got a massive pile of books to read, so it probably won't happen. At number 3, with 21,202 copies sold, volume number 9 of the Haikyuu light novel series. This, of course, we talked about last week. It was on the list. It's basically retelling the story of Haikyuu, the volleyball manga and eventual anime series. The manga is being published in English by Viz. There was a 60-episode anime, which is licensed in North America by Sentai Filmworks. We don't have a license for the light novels, but pretty much if you want to read the story or enjoy the story in any manner, you've got at least a few different ways. And with the manga being the source material, I can't say this is one I feel too bad about us not getting the light novels, because at least we have the actual source story. So I really don't think we're ever going to see these light novels getting licensed here. Not with the anime and the manga both being licensed. And like I said, with the manga being the source material, yeah, I don't see this one ever coming over to us in English. At number 2, with 26,284 copies sold, volume 13 of Konosuba. Of course, we talked about this last week, the light novels licensed in English by Yen On. They just released volume number 4. In fact, it's in my pile of, well, my ever-growing pile of books to be read. Also, the manga is licensed in English by Yen Press. And there's been a 20-episode plus 2 OVAs anime, which is licensed by Crunchyroll. And the anime covers approximately volumes 1 to 4. So I'll actually be able to watch the anime now that once I finish volume number 4, which is kind of cool. So I'll be able to get to something else to watch. Finally, at number 1, with 37,166 copies sold, volume number 11 of Tensei Shitara Slime Dataken, aka That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. This was number 6 on the Tankoubon Kono light novel ga Sugoi listing. It is licensed for English release by Yen On. The first volume's actually coming out this Tuesday. Living alone and never having had a girlfriend, 37-year-old Satoru Mikami is dissatisfied with how his life has turned out. But after dying at the hands of a robber, he awakens to a fresh start in a new world as a slime monster. Now, I've heard from quite a few of you that this is a pretty good series, but that it is definitely a power fantasy series, so a main character who is incredibly overpowered yet again. But I think if it's anything like, and I mean, I know I've heard it's different, so I'm not saying that it is like it, but if it's anything even similar to So I'm a Spider, So What? Even just the journey of the character learning to handle their new circumstances could be interesting. I do have it ordered. Funny enough, I've gotten almost every single volume that's supposed to release on December 19th, except all of the brand new number 1s. For whatever reason, those are the only ones that haven't shipped to me yet. Go figure, the ones that I'm most, anxious to read. But, oh well. Anyway, just the way that things go. So those are your top 10 best-selling light novels in Japan for the week of December 4th to December 10th, 2017. I'll be back here next week to go over the list and see which titles have managed to hang on and which titles have disappeared. Maybe we'll see some more entries from the Kono light novel ga Sugoi list. Who knows? I guess it all depends on what's coming out. So if you love light novels and you're brand new to the channel, you may want to subscribe. I do this countdown every single week, as well as doing 2 to 3 light novel reviews every single week as well. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.